Hello everyone, my name is Dalton and welcome to my channel. Today I am bringing a very embarrassing checkup video basically. So it is October, it's actually the middle of October already. I don't know how, but it is. So that means I have like 2.5 months basically to read all the books that I said at the beginning of the year in January, to read all the books that I said that I wanted to read, all 22 of them. Yeah, when I made that goal and when I said I wanted to read 20, or like when I picked out the 22 books that I wanted to read in 2022, I had no fear. Um, I really thought my year was going to go differently than it did, but here we are. It's October and I am nowhere close to finishing those 22 books. So, without further ado, I am going to get into the books that I have read from that list and the books that I have not read. So to start, I am going to go through the books that I actually have read. As you will see, there's not a lot of them. But yeah, the first one that I said that I wanted to read and actually finished was To Paradise by Hanya Yanagihara. This was my most anticipated book of this year. I loved it. I had some issues with it, but I love the writing. Literally, I will read anything by Hanya Yanagihara from now until forever, until she passes away. I will read whatever she decides to publish, simply because I love her writing that much. I also enjoy her storytelling. The way she is able to put human emotion on paper is absolutely insane to me. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. I read it in January as soon as it came out. But yeah, I really, really love this novel, and I'm so glad I read it when it first came out. The next book that I actually read was Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. I liked this book. I did have some issues with it as well. I thought the writing was pretty decent and the story was pretty decent. I read this in February, I believe. During like Black History Month, I only read novels from Black authors, and this is one of the ones that I read. Like I said, I enjoyed it. I'm glad I read it. I do understand the hype, even though I didn't love it as much as some other people have. I am looking forward to getting to some of his other novels. I recently picked up a copy of Blacktop Wasteland, I believe is what it's called. I don't know when I'll ever get to that book, maybe next February, who knows, but really glad I read this. The next book that I read, it's very embarrassing. So I don't think I picked up another book off of my 22 books to be read in 2022 until September. Yeah. I definitely started this book in the summer, but I only got like 100 pages in, and I had already previously read it, so I wasn't necessarily like enthralled by it. I obviously love this book. There was a reason I wanted to reread it, but the story at the time just wasn't like drawing me in, and that is The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. I finished it in September, like I said. I believe I read it all during when I had like COVID, or like maybe right after when I had COVID. I love it. I gave it 5 stars this time, which was actually better than my first time reading it where I gave it 4 stars. I felt like I picked up on a lot more of like the world building and the magic system and everything, because I already kind of had a pretty good understanding of it from my first read. So I am really glad that I reread this. I'm not really sure what took me so long, other than that I was kind of just in a reading slump. But I picked up the second one, and that is the next book on this list. Like I said, I picked up the second book, The Obelisk Gate. I liked this book a lot as well. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I believe I just finished this one maybe beginning of October, end of September. Excuse me, not November. Jeez, I don't want to be there already. But really glad that I am pushing my way through this. It is one of my goals to finish this entire series, which leads me to the next book. I have not finished it, but I am like halfway through it. I'm like 187 pages into it. Because of that, I am going to add it to this list. I am not liking this one as much as the other two. So far, not a lot has happened, and I'm not saying the other two are like action-packed books. Um, I don't know. I don't know why I'm not enjoying it as much. I'm still gonna finish it. Hopefully by the ending, I will love it because there is a lot to wrap up still. Um, but yeah, technically, because I haven't finished this book, I have only read 4 books on my 22 books to be read in 2022. I'm going to show another one just because I have technically started it and it was on the list, even though I'm not really that far into it. I don't know where my dust jacket is for Gone Girl, but I am currently reading Gone Girl as well as The Stone Sky. So that makes 5 books technically, but I have only actually finished 4 of them. We're running out of time, guys. I have 2 months to finish 18 books. 2.5 months, technically. And I'm gonna go through the ones that I still haven't read yet, and you'll realize how daunting of a task it is. Some of these books are not short. I did not do myself any favors when I made this selection of books. But with that being said, those were the books that I have either read or have started to read from my 22 books that I wanted to read in 2022. So let's get into the books that I still have yet to start or pick up or even look at or begin to even think about starting to read. Honestly, I don't know why I picked some of these novels. Like in retrospect, I'm like, why would you do that? But let's go. Let's talk about it. And honestly, these aren't really in any order. I tried to do the other ones like in the order that I read them. These ones have no particular order. They're just like the remaining books that I still said that I wanted to read at the beginning of the year. The first book is The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie. I just wanted to pick this up because everybody on BookTube seems to love it. It is a super popular fantasy novel. I don't know a whole lot about it other than it doesn't really have a huge plot. I know it's super character driven, which is kind of surprising for fantasy. You don't really see super character driven fantasies a whole lot. This is one of the ones that I'm kind of skeptical on. I don't know if I'll get to it this year just because I haven't really been in like a super big fantasy mode. Obviously, I've read the N.K. Jemisin novels, but I don't know. I don't know. That's kind of science fiction, I guess, but like I don't know if I'm really like in the mood for this at the moment. But we'll see. This is one of those novels that I'm looking back and I'm like, why in the heck did you decide to read that? And don't get me wrong, I do want to eventually read this. But like, why? Why? The Count of Monte Cristo. Why? Why did I want to read this at the beginning of the year? And here's the thing, I know exactly why, because I have an obsession with super long books. And last year I read A Suitable Boy, which is like 1,400, 1,500 pages. And this one's pretty much the same length. And I love to torture myself. That's all I can say. This is probably one of the ones that I am not going to be able to get to this year just because I don't have time to dedicate a month to a book if I want to get some of the other things done. If I want to hit my reading goal challenge, I'm not going to be able to read a 1,500 page novel. So unfortunately, this one might have to go on next year's TBR. And this is one that I've picked up and read like a page or two, but just sat down because I wasn't really necessarily in the mood for it. Fire of Vengeance by Evan Winter. I loved the first book in this series, The Rage of Dragons. I read it last year. Like I said, I loved it. It was super action-packed. I did have some issues with the main character. But all in all, I really, really enjoyed it. I think I gave that book 4 out of 5 stars, and I really wanted to read this before I forgot everything. And I'll be honest, I think we're at the point where I don't remember a whole lot. Like, I remember major plot points, but like the magic systems and that sort of stuff have kind of not necessarily been forgotten, but I don't necessarily remember the nuances, which scare me. Because I don't have time to reread that novel either, but I do really still want to get to this before the end of the year. Plus, I read the other one, It took me a long time because I took a break in between it and read like 100 pages and then stopped and read something else. But I remember reading that book super fast, to be honest. It was a very quick read. So hopefully I can still get to this, but we shall see. Then two more were Strange the Dreamer and Muse the Nightmare by Laini Taylor. I just wanted to give her another shot because I never ended up finishing her first series, The Daughter of Smoke and Bone. I've heard nothing but great things about this series and the writing of this series, so I just wanted to give her a shot. It is technically YA, so I might be able to get one, maybe both of them done fairly quickly. Maybe next month if I have time, but we shall see. This is another book that I am still dying to read. I just don't think it'll happen this year. That is Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov. I only want to read this because I read My Dark Vanessa last year and it was my favorite novel of the year. And I just want to read this and kind of just like make parallels from that novel to this novel because there are a lot of similarities. The author pulls a lot from this. I did read the preface of this one day just because I was kind of bored and I didn't really want to get into anything, but I did want to read, and this is like a, it has like an introduction annotation. It's like a, I don't, almost like one of the Norton critical editions for stuff. So it has a whole bunch of stuff in here. So I didn't actually read like the preface to the novel or anything. It was just like an introduction and a preface to the author and that sort of stuff. And I enjoyed it. I didn't know anything about Nabokov, so it was kind of interesting to learn some stuff. Like I said, I don't know if I'll get to this year just because this will probably take me a little bit longer than like a current like newer release. I also just want to spend some time with the writing of this because I've heard nothing but fabulous things about Nabokov's writing. So I don't know. This will probably happen next year, unfortunately, even though I do really want to get to it. The next three novels that I'm going to mention, I'm just going to mention super fast. Just give like, I'm just so tired of talking about these novels on the channel. I'm sure you guys are tired of me talking about them, saying that I'm going to read them and then never actually freaking reading them. I do really want to read all of these, but like, I've tried. I don't know when it's going to happen. I've started all three of these and nothing has compelled me to actually finish them. The first one that I've actually given like the most time and effort towards is The Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois. I have started this book twice. I have read like 150 pages the first time, gave it back to the library because I had a library copy and I knew I was getting my own, so I wanted to tab it up and stuff. Started rereading this a couple months ago during the summer, got like 60 pages in and was just bored. I was just having reading slump issues and it just wasn't what I wanted at the time. Don't know if I'll finish this year because it's super long, super chunky, and I know it's going to take forever for me. Plus, I do want to spend some time with the writing and not go through it too quickly. Tired of talking about it, mentioned it a crap ton on this channel. This will probably be like next February again because it was on that TBR. I've read like 20 pages of this novel, The Goldfinch. I just want to read something by Donna Tartt, and I love the 20 pages of this that I actually read. Don't know why I put it down. Don't know why I haven't picked it back up. Like I've said, I've mentioned this crap ton. I just need to read it. Also, super long. It's like 700 pages. I know it'll take forever to finish, so I don't think it'll happen this year. At this point, I don't know if I'll ever start this series. The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. I read the prologue, didn't love it, set it down. It's the same with all three of these books. Something, either my reading slump or something has kept me from reread or like going forward with these. I don't have an excuse. This one also probably will not happen this year just because it's so long. One that I am kind of sad that I haven't got to yet, Pachinko, by Min Jin Lee. I've heard nothing but great things about this. It is kind of long, but I don't think it would take me too long to read this. So I really don't have an excuse. Maybe next month, honestly. We will see. This is another one that I actually picked up and started reading, and I've set it down twice now, and that is All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. I originally picked this up a couple years ago, maybe 2020, maybe 2019, something like that. Read like 150 pages maybe. Put it down for some reason just because I wasn't enjoying it. I don't love World War II stories, and I know that. I just want to read this because I've heard nothing but pretty fantastic things. Also, the writing is beautiful, and I know that because I've read so much of it. But I picked this up. The second time, I literally got 20 pages in and set it down because I was bored with it. Story of my life with every book on this TBR, to be honest. Another one that I'm kind of surprised that I haven't picked up yet is The Vanishing Half by Brit Bennett. I don't have an excuse for this one. I just haven't touched it. And I don't really know why. Maybe next month. This one also should not take me super long because it is pretty short compared to most of these books on this TBR. But we will see. I just need to get... I would be fine with getting to like 10 or 11 of these books. So at least I'm at like 50%. So like maybe this one is one that I could do. So this one might be it for me. Another one that I don't really have an excuse for is Jade City by Fonda Lee. This is like a fantasy, almost like The Godfather, I guess. I haven't picked this one up at all yet. I haven't touched it really since I bought the book. I don't know if I'll get to this. I don't know. Maybe in December. I will have like a week and a half off for my birthday and Christmas and stuff for December. So maybe that week and a half, 2 weeks that I have off will allow me to power through a whole bunch of books. We will see. Maybe this will be one of them. I think this might be one of them. It is kind of long. Well, I guess not, because Orbit loves to do like these extra things, and it makes their books look 100 pages longer than they actually are. So maybe I will be able to get to this because it is only like 400 something pages. Maybe. This might be doable. This is another one that I'm kind of just like looking back. Why the heck did you add this? The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. I know I want to give her novels a shot because I do own a couple. Normally I get them at like Goodwill or like my local library if they're free. And I do hear a lot of great things about her novels. I already know they're not for me. They're like historical romance. And I know that's not something that I'm going to be super, super into. So I know that I added it to this list just to like get me to read something different. But like you couldn't have picked something else. You chose a historical romance. Okay. Honestly, these two, I don't know if I'll get to either just because they are super, super long. And the first book, which is literally half the size of both of these, took me like a week to get through because it was so dense. Royal Assassin and Assassin's Quest by Robin Hobb. I didn't even love the first novel either, so that also makes me a little skeptical about getting into these because I don't know if I'll actually continue. I don't know if I'll like the story, to be honest. And as of right now, like, me starting a book and not liking it is just gonna like make me not hit my reading goal, which I don't care about that much, and make me not read half of these books. So it'd just be like disappointing if I started this one and then picked up this one. Plus I know like if I started them right now, I don't think I'd be able to finish these until like mid-November with the way like my work schedule and like just stuff I have going on is I just don't know. So with that being said, I don't know what books are going to propel me to that 50% of these 22, but we're going to see, I guess. But yeah, thank you guys. I mean, this was embarrassing. I was thinking about the video that I did in January the other day while I was at work, and I was like looking at my shelves and I was like, "Oh, you haven't read any of these, have you?" No, you haven't. So then I like picked them all off my shelves and was like, "Oh wow. Yeah, no, you really haven't read any of these books." And then I read the N.K. Jemisin books, like 4 or 2 of them. I was like, oh, we're doing so well. We've read so many of them. And then I looked at the list again and I was like, oh, no, sweetie, no, you haven't. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments if you are doing well on like. I know I seen a lot of people not do 22 of them. Like some people just did like 10 books you wanted to read in 2022. I might have to do that for 2023. Just because like I've only read like 30 something books so far this year. So if I hit 40, I mean 23 books out of 40, the odds aren't good. Especially when I'm trying to read like new releases, like N.K. Jemisin, The City We Became, the second book to that is coming out November 1st, I believe, and I want to read it so bad. I will probably pre-order it and have it here the day it comes out. So like there's another book that I have to work into the schedule of reading these 22 books that I haven't started. But let me know what books you want to get to before the year ends. Are you doing good on like your reading goals and that sort of stuff? Just let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace out. Bye.